welcome to Doctrine and McDunn, a podcast that explores Christian faith and practice from a reform.
That was pretty good. You caught me off guard there.
I thought I might.
And you did. You did. You win that round.
Jimmy's in here. You guys are gonna kick me off the podcast.
I know. Here I go. Everyone's kicking me out.
You listen. You're just gonna be. You're gonna come in. We'll have you come in like once a month.
Once a month.
Once a month. You do some like funny bits.
I'll be the recurring guest.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll do all my hits. Ha ha ha! Fire the white pastor. I'll do all the greatest hits.
Oh man, that was one of my favorites.
Sharing is caring.
Yeah. You got some counsel after that one.
Sharing.
Counsel
yeah.
after Father White Pastor, but you weren't. Yeah, that was just. I love the apology tours. They always come.
I have not been on one. Mm-hmm. Oh wait, no, okay, never mind. We were just talking about one I was on.
Yeah. Well, this is Doctrine and Devotion, a podcast that explores Christian faith and practice from a Reformed Baptist perspective. My name is Joe Thorne. I'm the lead pastor of Redeemer Fellowship in St. Charles, Illinois.
And I'm Jimmy Fowler, executive pastor at Redeemer Fellowship.
And I'm Krista McDunn. I don't have a title yet.
You do.
I do. What's my title?
You're licensed professional counselor.
But that's not fun.
Okay. You are the D&D... Oh man, I got to be careful how I say this. You are the Doctrine and Devotion. Well, there are old school words that you could use to describe
he's gonna
people.
Use,
no, I'm not.
You know what? He's going with a 3-letter one. Go.
No.
4-letter one.
I don't. What's a 3-letter word?
Girl.
No, that's not 4.
No.
I don't know.
I thought you were going to say gal.
Gal, yeah, broad. There's like lots of
Dame.
words, but I was
that's
dame.
the one I figured he was going to
do.
No. But listen,
right, so
I love old movies, so I know that.
Krista McDunn. Let me look it up because I don't want to say it and then get in trouble.
What?
I don't know. I need a catchy one.
Wait, hold on. What are you looking? Are you defining it first?
I'm gonna look at. Oh yeah, okay. So I can say this.
Okay.
Oh well, the first definition is fine. The second definition is not.
Then maybe
okay.
don't do it.
I'll just leave it alone.
What is it?
That word right there. Because it could just mean a girl or a woman, you know. But anyway, hey everybody, Krista McDunn.
You gotta text me this.
Okay. Well, you know what?
Let's just
you know
say
what I need
it.
to do when I get home? I need to look in my tool bag and find a wrench.
Yeah, I was going to say, it starts with W, ends in ench.
And then I'll fix some things. Yeah. But,
the podcast wench.
Oh,
that's
Krista,
what it is.
Krista, you can't say those things.
No, I was not. No, I meant it though, like as like a cool, you know.
We are super. Never mind. I was gonna.
Yeah, we're gonna be canceled.
I'm offended.
That's fine.
We're not canceled. I said it. Not you
Yeah.
guys.
No. Well. Yeah. You're gonna get us canceled. Jimmy
You
can't
asked
get us
me here.
canceled because he apologizes. You don't apologize for anything.
I apologize to anyone I offended. That's the non-apology
that's the
apology,
non-apology
right?
She
I
only
hate
apologizes
that.
to people that she believes she has rightly offended, which means nobody. So Krista's never apologized.
Oh, that's not true. Just ask Kevin.
I'm texting.
So, listen, hey,
Kevin, how many
I got something.
has your wife apologized? No,
Oh,
I'm not texting.
plenty.
I'm gonna share some good news because
I need
my
good news.
kid.
Your new book?
No, man, I'm not writing anything. You know, it's funny. But my books can fit in my pocket if I fold them.
Your new booklet?
No, my kids are always concerned about like, oh, Dad, you know, you're not healthy. You know,
Yeah, let's see your results.
You don't work out and you smoke a lot of cigars.
Yeah.
And you eat garbage. So
They're worried about you.
I had my annual. All right,
Okay.
Now, those are private moments between me and a doctor, right? You know, you have those. You're not old enough. You don't know.
I haven't reached the 90th one.
Yeah. So I went. So I had all this blood work done.
Yep.
Had all this stuff.
Yep.
And he gives me all of my numbers.
All right, let me see it.
He said, "Well, it won't make any sense."
Yeah, it'll make sense. I'll read it.
But
You're going to read it? This is HIPAA
He just gives-
protected info, dude.
Can I share?
He just gives categories. But what he said was, all of these numbers are great. You are right where you should be in all of the numbers. Liver, kidney, heart.
Why is your... That one's a little weird, right?
There's no weird ones.
No, your estrogen level. That seems a bit high.
Yeah, well, it was because I damaged my uterus a few
my
years
gosh.
ago.
Joey.
You said estrogen. The point is like, my numbers are really good. He goes, you're doing great. I can't believe this is awesome.
And
it's good.
that all being said, you're right. I can't figure this thing
No,
out.
of course not.
But he circled a lot as
No, he didn't. No, he goes, take this to your wife. And I was like,
why? What is she going to know?
because I'm supposed to tell her stuff like, okay, so you got your bad cholesterol, your good cholesterol. Mine are right where they're supposed to be. And even the breakdown between the two is perfect. It's right where it's supposed. Liver, awesome. No diabetes. Kidneys are great. And when he was like, so do you drink alcohol? And I'm like, well, of course I do. And he was like, well, how much? And I'm like, I don't know, 4 days a week, let's say. And he's like, okay, how much? And he's like, a drink or two. He's like, that's fine. And I said, but I smoke a whole lot of cigars all the time. And he goes, yeah, don't worry about it. That's my doctor.
What kind of doctor?
Yeah,
Dude.
Okay, well, technically, he's not an American doctor. I mean, I talked to him on the internet, but No, he's a very respected, very popular, in-demand doctor right here in the Fox Valley area.
Awesome.
I thought maybe you reached out to Dr. Alligood and had him do it for you.
Oh, Jason does not give me a quarter. Listen, hey, Jason. Jason lit me up, busting up my chops about one of our episodes, like nonstop critiquing every mistake I made on the podcast.
I don't remember that at all.
No, you wouldn't, because you don't know the mistakes I made, but he knows them because he's a doctor.
Oh,
and
okay,
he just schooled me, and I finally stopped replying. And he's like, "Sorry, man. I know it's a stressful time." Okay, thanks.
You're
man.
like, cool.
Cool. Yeah, you got a doctorate from Midwestern, so it's like, I mean, and it's still a doctorate, but it's it's like it's still a car, but it's a Ford Festiva from 1998. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's still a car.
It's still, I mean, it works.
It
gets you from point A to A and a half.
Sometimes.
Usually.
Love him. So, you guys keep saying, "Hey, bring Krista back on." We want to bring Krista on. She's awesome, and I thought we would talk to you about something that I know you're dealing with a lot, but we're also seeing it as well, and we're seeing more of this now than we have in previous years. I mean, Jimmy, how long have you been in pastoral ministry? Since starting in,
I've been in ministry. Let's just go that way. Yeah, because 2000 something.
Okay, so you started with Young Life, probably, is that?
That's what I'm saying. More ministry. Yeah.
So but it's a pastoral kind of role. So ministry since 2000. I've been pastor since '98. And Krista, obviously, you're counseling people and you've been involved in ministry. So
wait a second.
Yeah.
All these times that we've had arguments, and you sat there like, "I have so much more experience. You should listen to me." Yeah. It's only 2 years.
Well,
thank you.
Yeah, I have.
Peace out.
Thank you.
It's only 2 more years of years ministering. But the difference is...
In Joe years, though.
Oh, in Joe
years, that could be a lot more.
These are like dog years.
Exactly.
These really are like dog years.
Listen, he's going to highlight the difference, and I'm going to agree with him because I agree with this difference. Go.
Well, the difference is the burden and the responsibility of leading a church is different from leading a parachurch organization.
I agree with that.
With youth.
Yeah,
but that doesn't make it like terrible or less. It's just different.
so then why are you diminishing?
I'm not diminishing.
No, you weren't.
I'm dismissing. There's a difference.
Gotcha.
There is a difference.
Yes, you're right. Thank you.
Thank you. So one of the things that I've been talking a lot about on the podcast and my preaching is the weariness, the discouragement, the depression, the anxiety that we're seeing more of in the last year and a half or so among people. And I'm seeing more of it. Jimmy's seeing more of it. I know you're seeing more of it.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that you've been talking a lot about is the correlation between anxiety, depression, and things like that, and community or the lack of it.
Yeah.
What is it that you are seeing? Because people come to you, they're pouring out their problems, or you're helping them through mental health issues. What are you seeing as it relates to community and anxiety?
Well, one of the hallmarks of anxiety and depression, even in, the diagnostic manual we use, one of the criteria is isolation and like diminished interest in activities that you normally enjoyed. So these are actually diagnostic criteria that we would consider whether or not, like determining, does this person have clinical levels of depression or anxiety, right? So yeah, it's a sign.
Is it a symptom or a cause or both?
I would say more a symptom.
Okay.
But it certainly doesn't help. So when I think of it in terms of, someone that I'm working with, if I have a client call me and say, "Oh, I can't make it in today, I'm not feeling well," I might probe a little bit and just say, "Are you physically not feeling well? Like, are you sick, or are you just really feeling down today? What's going on?" And, "Well, I'm feeling down today. It's just been a really rough day." And so I'll push them a little bit and be like, "You know what? I'd really like you to still try to come in."
Why?
Because just getting out of the house is a win. I mean, if you're dealing with clinical depression, getting out of the house is a win. Because otherwise, you're isolated. You tend to ruminate your thoughts. You're like on a hamster wheel with your thoughts that just go nowhere good.
Yeah.
And you have no one really pushing back on that. There's no joy. There just aren't any other outside inputs. You're just kind of marinating in that. Whereas if you get out in community one way or the other, it could even just serve as a distraction. It gives you a chance to think about something else.
Yeah.
Something as simple as that. So it's really, really important to stay connected to people. And then, so you throw COVID on top of all of this, even if you don't have clinical levels of anxiety or depression, you're kind of dealing with it. When I think back to the first days of COVID when we didn't know what was going on and it was scary, right? We just were afraid to leave our houses, and that does something to us. And I think there's these lasting effects for anybody that already struggled with this. It magnified it. And then for other people that maybe had like subclinical levels, like maybe occasionally they felt this, that might have amped it up for them a bit. And then for even people that, another thing I think about too, introverts versus extroverts, right?
Yeah, right.
So I remember you all probably saw them too on social media, the memes like, the introvert that says, I've trained my whole life for this, when we first had the lockdown.
I made those jokes.
Yeah.
Jen and I made those jokes.
Yeah.
Right? So you think like, I was born for this. This is great. But you tell me though.
Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't good.
You realize over time, like, okay, I've baked all the bread, I've cleaned all the rooms, I've done everything I'm going to do. And now here
puppy.
We sit. Yeah, you got another dog. So, I think even people who normally recharge their batteries by being alone realized I need people still.
It's still not good for man to be alone, to quote
Correct.
Genesis, right?
Yeah.
Why do you guys think it is because I think most of us know this, right? When we get down, depressed, hurt, we isolate ourselves. And most of us know that we do that sort of a thing, right? But why? Like, 'cause I think it's helpful to understand why we do that. Like, why? Because forget like people that like to be alone. Like, when we get hurt or when we are depressed or anxious, why is that the first thing that happens? Isolation, removed from community. Why do we do that?
Yeah. But have you done it?
I've done it. And I think part of it is, so when you were talking at the beginning, I was thinking about when you said if someone calls and says they're not feeling well, you kind of prod, right? We're used to the no one prodding, right? We're used to, not especially, but it can happen within the church where how are you doing? Things are great. Blessed. # blessed.
Yeah.
And it's all surface level,
Right.
right? And I think we're used to no one prodding and assuming they don't care.
Right.
And which is weird to me because I think if we would ask ourselves, like, I actually do genuinely care about others. I just haven't, asked or prodded. So, if we know we care, obviously they do care, right?
Right.
So I think that's part of it is like we're just not used to prodding going deeper when it comes to our interactions with others.
Right.
So we assume they don't want to be inconvenienced by us.
And I think also like we don't like making people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like there's a sense of like, I don't want to embarrass them. I don't want to step on their toes.
Or I don't want to hijack their time.
Right. Like we have a bunch of reasons that aren't bad reasons to be like cautious, but they become excuses to not do the hard thing.
Yeah.
Right. And I think for the person that's experiencing, say, depression and things like that, number one, you often think you're the only one feeling this way, so it can feel like that. So I often tell clients, you're not the only one, and kind of normalize it.
Right.
Not that depression is normal, not that you want to just be okay with being depressed, but that it's a common thing.
Yeah, you're not with you're not a weirdo.
Right, right. It happens, and it for a lot of different reasons. So there's that aspect. I think too, I know in my own life, when I think back, like when anxiety was the most difficult for me, I don't like feeling needy.
Oh, yeah.
I hate that feeling.
You feel embarrassed.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like I feel like I should be able to handle my life. I'm looking at other people. They seem to handle their life.
They seem to.
Why am I not? Right. Keyword, right? Yeah. They seem like they got it all together, but they don't. I've learned that over time. But yeah, so I think even admitting our neediness is really hard. And as Christians, man, we should be the first to admit our neediness because we understand that through the gospel.
Yeah.
But
And I agree. And the issue we have, though, is that our Christian culture has followed suit with the American culture
Absolutely.
that struggles and failures, or struggles and weakness equal failure.
Yeah.
And we don't want to be viewed as that failure. We don't want to be viewed as a lesser believer or a believer that can't achieve or anything like that. I mean, we have memes, we've got accounts, we've got all this like hyper masculine, like pull yourself up by your bootstraps, make no excuses. And it's really pushed this narrative that, weakness is a failure. Weakness is what is sub man. Right? It's not what a true man is.
Which goes against everything that we really see in Scripture from the theological levels of total depravity and sin and brokenness. But even Paul in 2 Corinthians 12 talks about this, right? Like, I asked God to take away my hurt 3 times. No, I don't think he simply threw up 3 prayers. I think the point is, like, I persisted in prayer for 3 periods of time. Like, I really pleaded with God. And I finally learned, like, nope. You're supposed to embrace your weakness, be honest about your weakness, so that you can actually find strength in me, and I believe in the community, in the church. I'll tell you this: I have men in my life like Pastor Brian, Pastor Jimmy. I've men in my life who will say, "Hey, man, what's going on? This seems a little off," and which is always beautifully awkward, but yields fruit. But I even had a guy, he's not an elder, he's not a deacon, he's just a godly man at the church that I love. And he said, "Hey man, can we meet and talk?" And a homeboy crawled into my life. He's like, "Hey," and it was easier for me, not easy, but easier for me because I so respect him. He's such a godly man. I won't say who it was, but it was Gary Mon. And he just crawled right into my life and he's like, "Hey man, let's talk," because I get it. I know. And it was, and it continues to be so helpful for there to be people who are willing to press in on those delicate, sensitive, sore issues when you can trust them.
Man, that's what Gary talks to you about?
And what does he talk to you about?
Crypto.
Yeah. Wait. Prayer of Sheba?
Prayer of Sheba.
Yeah, right. You guys, that is so cool. And I think, man, I've thought about pastors in general during this time. I mean, we talked about it a little bit, during our church conference a couple weeks ago, that I really have felt for you guys. And it's interesting because I know this has been a tough time for you. It just, pastoring a church through COVID is just hard. But
and we've made our share of mistakes.
Yeah.
It's, well, everyone, how could we not? We're just making it up as we go because it's unlimited information, right? Yeah. So we don't have a choice. But even my sister lives up in the Twin Cities, same thing. She's like, "Oh man, our pastors are really struggling." My parents in Wisconsin, same thing. Like, "Oh yeah, this has been a tough season for our guys," So that's a universal experience. And I would imagine for you all, it's difficult too, that it's just like, I just want to go home and be left alone, because it's hard. And so what a gift from Gary, that he did that for you.
It would be hard if we cared for our people. But because we just don't give a flip about any of the people, I just don't even think about it. I'm just like, whatever, man. I'm just going to go home and play Xbox.
I know, that's not true. Totally not true.
Full disclosure, Krista's husband is an elder candidate who is godly, gifted, insightful. Jimmy, how thankful are we for Kevin?
Oh, I am especially thankful.
Yes. He is.
I got my PIC.
What's that?
Partner in crime.
Yeah, you guys think alike, don't you?
Yeah.
I know. I had a feeling you guys are.
But here's the thing. I appreciate you say that. We might think alike. We definitely don't speak alike because he'll take those same thoughts and be like, here's a blessing for you to consider. And then here's me going, blow this up!
Yeah. I've basically seen Jimmy do the Darth Vader, like a Jedi throat choke on people. But Kevin has this, he's more Yoda. He's more Yoda.
So you know what's funny is I brought back an employee that everyone didn't really enjoy, but I loved him.
Steve, yes.
Nope. Oh. And we walked out on the floor, and the initial thought I had was, the Emperor has his Vader back. Because the whole place, the floor went silent, like, oh no,
oh, wow.
They're back together again. I'm like, yeah, these efficiency levels are going back up.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I know
there's a time and place for both, right?
Yep.
I think
you got it. And that's what I love about having a diversely gifted, different personalities, different perspectives, but same vision for the church, same theology, because that's really important. You got to have the same vision for the church or it doesn't work. Same theology, but then different perspectives, different personalities, because if we're all like one of us, then nothing gets done. It all falls apart, and we can't care for people appropriately. Well, what about this? I mean, we haven't quite got to it yet, but like in on the level of, let's just say, in the realm of creation and common grace, and in the realm of redemption and special grace, community matters in both spheres, right? So
Absolutely.
like every human being is designed for and needs community. And this is true for both non-believers and for believers. And of course, we have a special kind of community in the church. So why is community so important for our health, for our spiritual health, for our mental health, for all of it? Like, and maybe you can just talk about it even in the realm of creation and in the world. Why does community matter for them? If there's no Jesus, why would it matter? Because I think some Christians are like, well, who cares then? If you don't have Jesus, why does community matter?
Oh, yeah, not true. It still matters. And research has shown that, there's support, like faith, being in a church community, but also being in other organizations, clubs, whatever it might be. Those are what we would call like supportive factors in someone's life, or even having a solid family, who's really supportive. So if someone is dealing with anxiety, depression, or some other issue, those are things that go in the kind of win column for people that are going to help them. So that applies to everyone. That falls under the kind of the common grace. That's just how God has created us in His image.
What does it do? What does community do for a person? Even, let's leave Jesus and the Holy Spirit and salvation out of it.
Whoa!
I'm not saying forever.
Just for
Jesus
this moment.
is the reason.
Okay, for
the season.
Okay. So what does community do for a person?
I think giving that sense of belonging, we all want that, right?
Whether we admit it or not.
Yes,
we do.
exactly.
Yeah, we like to act like we like to
Mm-hmm.
act like we're the lone wolf.
I'm an individual.
Right.
I'm doing my own thing.
I'm what's his name? Keanu. What's his John Wick?
John
I'm John
Wick,
Wick.
yeah.
I'm by myself. I'm killing people for touching my dog. Like we like to be like alone, like Lone Ranger type guys, strong, silent type.
I felt like lone wolf was. Why do you do that?
Why do I layer the analogies?
No. Why do you take like what I said and then just repackage it with something that may or may not have been better?
Oh, it's definitely better.
Why couldn't
It's
you just
definitely
leave
better.
lone wolf? You had to go lone ranger.
Yeah, because first of all, lone wolf, general, lone ranger, specific character. Okay, specific character. So you deal in generalities. I deal in specific illustrations that drive the point home that make people want to believe in Jesus.
Can you help with
That's
this?
what I do.
I feel like I'm at a tennis match.
This is why
My
you're the
head's going,
executive
back
pastor and
forth.
I am the lead pastor.
For now.
Oh,
A lot of things are up in the air, Redeemer. You never know what's going to happen. Krista could be the next pastor.
oh my gosh! Stop!
I'm just saying. Like, you
Number
never
one,
know.
no, I would never want that.
Oh, she lied.
Oh no. No, I told you guys. I gave the gospel once at a girls retreat. It was like the most stressful thing I've ever done. I felt the weight of the responsibility. I don't know how y'all
And I
do
think
it.
they became
week in-
Satanists after that.
Probably.
I'm pretty sure they
Joey.
did.
They
Because
weren't
women shouldn't
pure.
be telling people about Jesus.
Joey.
Eve was deceived
stop,
by the devil.
stop.
Oh my gosh.
Eve was
Stop.
deceived. Adam
Stop.
wasn't deceived. Adam was just being a dummy.
Oh,
That was just being a dummy.
Okay, so we need community.
you're gonna start your apology tour next week.
I don't even care. So we need community. We're made for. I mean, God dwells in community.
Right.
Father, Son, Holy Spirit, eternal. But and so we're made in His image. We're made for community. We need it for a sense of belonging. It does impact our sense of identity.
Absolutely.
Because we're not supposed to exist on our own. We're supposed to be a part of God's people or of His creation. So that all makes sense. And what happens when a person, like what specifically is happening to a person when they isolate from community?
Yeah, the crushing loneliness, and it just magnifies it. And
What happens? Okay, so I guess I'm driving. I want to hear you talk about this. So we isolate ourselves.
Please mansplain this to us.
Okay, because I'm mansplaining to one.
the woman.
That's right. So
You gotta correct me.
because you are the podcast wife, so I'm mansplaining for two, I guess.
Oh,
So we isolate ourselves,
Yeah.
and the impact of that, we feel loneliness, but what is it? What is that doing? How does that hurt us?
well, yeah, you feel the loneliness. Which leads to hopelessness. Gosh, if it really goes unchecked, it can lead to suicidal ideation or self-harm of other forms.
Why does it do that?
The way I've heard people describe it to me when they feel depressed. So I haven't personally experienced depression. My Mine has always been anxiety.
You're a nervous Nelly.
Exactly. Exactly. But I've heard people say about depression that it's these cyclical thoughts, and they just keep spiraling and spiraling and spiraling, and that the depression actually starts to lie to you. Like somebody who's severely depressed, who is entertaining thoughts of suicide, like people will say that's selfish. And to those of us who aren't in it, I can see where it would seem that way. But actually, the depression can actually convince them that their family, their loved ones would literally be better off without them. And they really, truly believe it.
Right.
And that's hard, I think, to grasp sometimes. Yeah. But yeah, it becomes these lies. And I know one of my professors said something that was so interesting when I was in school. And he said, if I'm just alone with my thoughts, and I'm not around anybody that can ever check me or challenge me, I will think some pretty wacky things. And he's not like mentally ill, We all again, due to total depravity and things like that, is if we are just alone and we don't have anybody else to give kind of feedback and input, we can go sideways.
And I think that's
fairly quickly.
And I think that's what's really important about community within the church, right? Like, for some individuals, I don't know if this is inappropriate to say it in this way, so correct me, right? Like, for some individuals, that it can go to an extreme like that, right? But for the vast majority, I think of believers, I think it goes to going sideways, like you mentioned, lying to themselves. I think there's a bit of arrogance in that. Right. Not receiving input or pushback from others, not being corrected and not willing to take that correction. They become an island to themselves. And so they're not able to, I guess, really grow and adjust in I think, a helpful biblical way.
I think that's true. And I think a common thing with this is that, so when that happens, when there's pushback or something like that, or that feedback or correction, a lot of times the response might be, well, they just don't really understand.
Right.
Because they assume
they're being mean.
They're being mean, but nobody's ever had it as bad as this. Sure. Because we all tend to think ours is the worst.
Pity party, right?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Not so much that, not truly, like they really believe that. Like this is really, like, nobody really understands. Or they would think like, I can't, in my role as a therapist, I can't go see someone that hasn't experienced this. This is why, for example, when people are in recovery, why AA is effective, because most of the people that are, leading AA are recovering alcoholics, right? So they've got the cred.
Yeah.
I don't have the cred in that regard, so that does make sense. And I think that's a factor too. But in the church, I think it's especially, we haven't gotten to this, but it's especially important to show up even when you don't want to.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yes.
Just I pushed back, or would push back on a client, whether it's community groups, Sunday services,
discipleship
groups. My gosh, when you don't feel like going, that's exactly when you should go.
That's the sign.
Please go.
We've talked about this quite a bit. I know I've preached on it as well. But so we believe in the means of grace. We believe that God conveys grace to his people through these particular means when they're accompanied by faith. And so you're miserable, you're downtrodden, you're weary, you're downcast, whatever, filled with overmuch sorrow, to talk like a Puritan. And you think like it's just going to get better. Like, I don't want to go to church because I don't feel it. That's why you go.
Exactly.
Because you don't feel it. That's why you hear the word. That's why you read the word. That's why you pray. Not because you're finally prepared for it spiritually and now you're ready, but because you're in need of God's grace. Like, so why would you think it's going to improve when you neglect those means and those opportunities?
Absolutely. And Scripture highlights this, right? Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. We have to fill our minds with truth. Think on these things, whatever is right, whatever is just, whatever is pure. It starts in what we're thinking about. And, that's another thing, is when you're alone and isolated, we talked about that, you ruminate on those thoughts. So if you're weary and all you're thinking about is how weary you are, you're just going to continue to feel more weary.
Right. Of course.
If you're angry and you think about it, you're just going to continue to be angry, right?
I know that emotion well.
You can attest. But if you think about things that you're grateful for, you start to feel gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to church and reminded about what Christ did for you, how are you going to
if the church
leave?
is actually preaching that
Well, that
gospel,
helps.
right?
Exactly. That's
If they're preaching do better and pray better.
Oh yeah, no, you're going to leave depressed.
Yeah, it's just
For
feeding
sure.
into it. Right?
Yeah. No, that's bad news. Because I'm doomed if that's what's expected. But yeah, if you're hearing the gospel, I challenge anybody to tell me, like, I felt worse after that
Right.
service. You know what I mean? Or if I went to my community group, and I'm assuming that it's a relatively healthy community group,
Sure.
not a group that's, in trouble. But I don't think people regret it. I mean, I've had that where I'm like, I don't want to go do this,
Oh, for
but
sure.
I'm going to go do this. But
No,
then
even
I'm,
as a leader, I feel that way.
I feel
oh my
that
gosh,
way, yeah.
I was going to say that.
Sometimes.
I was going to say that. Like, okay, so we all are involved in leading community groups or hosting them or whatever. You know what? Guess what? Sometimes we don't feel like doing it either, but we do because we know it's good. And I never regret it. I never, even if I'm tired and it's been a long week, I never feel like, man, I wish those people wouldn't have come over
No, and
tonight.
that's just
I'm
it. Even-
never like that.
Even when it's at those times, and it's like really feeling that I'm like, we're doing a hangout. Like, let's just
Be together.
be like, I need
right.
you. It's because I need that community.
Right.
Maybe, at this point, I'm not ready to lead like in the discussion and go through everything. But why don't we like?
But you
just
can fellowship,
We can
yeah.
fellowship and enjoy and catch up and delve
Right.
deeper
Because-
into what's going on.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they are your brothers and sisters. Like, I love my community group, and we were just there on Tuesday, and it was, and I actually was looking forward to it, right? But sometimes I'm just weary. I don't feel like going, but I know that I will hear, like, okay, so one of my favorite Proverbs is Proverbs 12:25. Anxiety in a man's heart weighs him down, but a good word makes him glad. And it's not a good word like, attaboy, you can do it. It's more like, the good word of God, the good word of the
news.
gospel. Like, those things really help. And even if they don't explicitly preach the gospel to me, so the Myers are in, so it's a family at our church. They're in my CG, and they're super old. No, I'm kidding.
They are not.
They always joke about it. What does they say? Listen, they are. Here's the thing. Okay, I don't know. They're like 80 or something. I don't know. But
They are not 80.
I'll tell you what.
I'll tell you what.
I'll tell you
I'll
what.
tell you what.
I'll tell you what. They they're better looking now than they were in their wedding photos. I've seen their wedding
Well,
photos.
you talk about
They look
that
great.
they're elderly and all. Listen,
Okay.
I have been to events and parties,
Yeah,
and I'll tell you this right now:
tell me.
Rick and Cindy know how to get down.
Oh no, they do.
They know how to party.
They are some hip grandparents. man.
They're the, but like, but the point is, like, you'll see the good news of the good word in them.
Yes.
They can't hold it back.
yeah.
It's there. Okay, I wanted to say something. You brought something up, and I think this is important. I want. It
was a good thing.
It was a really good thing. For
gonna-
once,
Look at this.
He's not
finally.
criticizing
my
you.
goodness.
No, he's about to correct it.
I'm gonna
okay.
basically
No,
you
here's what
botched
he's going
it.
to say.
You botched
Here's
it.
what
Oh, no.
he's going to say. Go and to put a finer point.
I was so
Okay,
hopeful
go. I'm
for you,
not
Jimmy.
going to say that.
All right, here we go.
No. Jimmy brought something up, and I would like Krista to put a finer point on it.
See,
Oh, great. He's gonna triangulate me into
No, because
this thing.
you only kind of hinted at it.
Okay,
And I think it's really important. I know some people are going to listen to this and they're like, I'm not depressed. I'm not a baby. I'm not a little punk. I whatever. But they're isolating themselves, right? So isolation can lead to depression and anxiety.
Sure.
But it can also, and this is what you were hitting on, it can also lead to pride
Yeah.
and arrogance.
That's right.
And so, like, Darren Patrick, who was a friend of mine, who committed suicide. And, one of the things, and Darren had to step down from his role at The Journey. And Darren was so open about this when he was healing and making amends and doing better and helping other pastors. He goes, oh no, I got to a point with my platform where I didn't have peers or friends, where people wouldn't speak into my life. And I became, in my mind, the man. And so isolation doesn't just mean you're going to be depressed. It can mean that you're self-inflated and that you think you're the man, which is just as dangerous. You're just as vulnerable as the depressed or the anxious person. You just don't know it.
That's a great
So
point.
you see this, right?
that
When you're
I
out.
made a great
Yeah,
point. That
Yes.
Jimmy made this point.
Great point.
Nobody could
Thank
tell
you.
because he was mumbling. But Krista, could you put a finer point on that?
I'll try. No, I think that's an excellent observation.
Clarification
And
that I made, yeah.
we've seen, you brought up Darren. I think we've seen it with other high-profile pastors, that end up maybe being surrounded by yes people, or,
Bad news.
so that's its own thing. But that's isolating in its own way. You
No,
might
that's
be
good.
around
Yeah.
people, but yet they're
that's
not
good.
telling you the truth.
That's
so
fire.
that's
Krista's smart.
isolated.
Now, remember I said that earlier, Krista.
Okay.
I'm glad you put a finer point
but
on it.
she's basically taking your thunder. She's stealing your thunder at this
Sorry.
point.
Okay,
Okay, no, hang on. So you can isolate yourself when you're surrounded by people who are yes and amening everything you say.
I think so because they're not telling you the truth.
That's really good.
That is real good.
And one of the things we've pointed this out with people like, and I'm not trying to beat up on him, but Driscoll had a lot of people around him that were just like, yeah, man, you're the dude, do your thing. Attaboy, attaboy. I know that I would be a train wreck if, and I am not in that position, where people were always saying, like, everything you do is great, like, just do your thing. Mm-hmm. It is isolating.
Yeah. Yeah. And I even remember, Kevin and I had attended, I'm not going to say what it is, but we attended a series of conferences that
I know, but I won't say.
I know, don't say it.
Yep.
I want to say really bad.
Don't
Yeah,
just
I'm
don't
not
do
going- I'm not
it.
going- I'm not going to
it's
say
fine.
it.
Just
T4G.
don't do it.
No, it wasn't T4G.
No, it wasn't.
It was
But
just one word.
It was one word. Stop. Okay. Anyway, so we would go, and it was great. And there were.
Did you feel liberated when you went to this?
Stop it! Stop!
amazing.
Stop!
Okay,
Stop!
go ahead.
Okay, this was before we were attending Redeemer, but yeah, we would go to this conference, and just incredible Paul Tripp, Scotty Smith,
guy.
Elise
Awesome guy.
Fitzpatrick,
Yep. Awesome lady.
Brian Chappell
She follows
at
me on
one
Twitter.
point. I mean, just amazing. Mike Horton preached.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, he preached the year I didn't go, but we just watched that video the other day in our CG, and it was awesome. Anyway, and I just was like, "Wow, this is great." And one of my friends that went with us said, "I'm a little concerned, though. Like, it seems like," and my thought was,
What do you mean?
Yeah,
It seemed a
seems
little.
like,
I feel like that-
it's go. I don't
It's-
want to
it's-
really say.
No,
it, but-
well,
here's the
this-
thing.
we-
Here's the
we-
thing.
we talked
you know
about
what
it.
that was? You know how there's like TikTok where like men won't understand this look?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've seen it. They look
It's
down,
like,
look away.
listen,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did I do it?
That was
That's
that
what
thing.
you did.
Yeah.
That's what you did
Yeah,
by
all
going.
ladies know, but most of the dumb guys
Like,
don't know.
So she said it was kind of.
Listen,
and we're all like, yeah,
by the way,
they are.
all the people you mentioned, we admire
know.
and respect. So it's not about them, right?
I don't. Well, and I don't want to throw them under the bus because
fine.
they said some good stuff.
Okay.
There's-
Well, what was the problem?
What was the?
Well, you could kind of detect things were starting to go. Like the last year we went, we were like, this feels weird. It feels different. It felt like, okay, the platform has been established. There's celebrity status going on. And there was this, okay, I even felt it. Like, I want to be a part of this group. How can I be? Like, I like what's going on here. But then it felt like I could feel other people being like that. But like, I wondered why they wanted to be like a part of it. We wanted it because we weren't in a church that was doing that. Well, at that point we were, because we were at Redeemer for that last one.
That's when we fixed you guys. Yeah.
Exactly. Prior to that, though, we weren't. And so at the time, we were just starving for gospel-saturated stuff. But what I said to my friend, who kind of recognized this, like, I don't know, this seems like it's getting a little weird. And I said, wait a minute. Look at the people who are here. They're going to hold him accountable, or they're going to hold them accountable. And that isn't necessarily true.
Okay, let's just be clear. You're talking about a particular figure.
Right.
Okay. So I know you don't want to you don't want to get into this. But
I might as well if you're going to say it.
because
Rhymes with.
Julian Kravijan.
No,
No,
so,
listen,
totally.
I know. I knew Julian and was grateful for a lot of the work that he'd
Yeah.
done. But there was something going on there, and you began to kind of feel like there's something weird
Well,
here.
he even acknowledges that. I think after the fact, I think he said, like, I believed my own hype, so I think he even acknowledged it. So
that you don't want
credit to him for that. But
so, like, you can isolate yourself by being surrounded by people who don't tell you the truth.
okay. And in this case, I don't know because I wasn't
Right,
there.
sure.
But when I think we get a sense of some of the character of some of those people, like the Paul Tripps and Scotty Smith and people like that. I would imagine they would tell someone the
Right,
truth
yeah.
if they knew what was going on.
Sure.
So sometimes that's another example of where you can be with people so you're not physically isolated, but if you're not honest with people,
Right.
that serves as isolation as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I'll just say it this way.
Oh.
Jimmy and I were hanging out with a guy who was friends, considered himself a friend of James McDonald. And we were like, that guy's sus. to use the lingo of the kids today. He's sus. And it's not that, like, I'm not guessing. I know, because I know people at the church. I know leaders in the church. I know what they're going through. They come to me crying. So I know what they're going through. And I know some of the damage that's being done by this guy that you consider a friend, but, like, didn't really know him. It didn't really know him that well. He didn't know, like, what was going on, and therefore wasn't able to speak into it. And I know guys like Paul Tripp, who did speak into Mars Hill, who did say, like, hey, guys, this is a mess.
Absolutely.
You've got to fix this.
Right.
But this is a situation where like, you know, when you are surrounded by people who are only supporting you in an unhealthy way and not supporting you in a helpful way, that means, like, you got to guard yourself, watch yourself. You need help. You need parameters. You need conviction. You need correction.
Right.
All of that can put us in a bad way.
Right.
So that you actually don't benefit from the communion of the saints. Because the communion of the saints isn't like, Jimmy likes to say kumbaya, which nobody knows the reference for. That's why I tell you not to use that.
No, it's kumbaya.
Nobody knows kumbaya anymore. Nobody, Gen X and under doesn't know kumbaya. In fact, I don't know where you picked it up.
Matata.
Okay, better.
Should we sing it?
No.
No, I'm teasing.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not singing.
Krista. So,
Kumbaya.
Oh, here we go.
All right, so let's say this. Especially for Christians, why do they need the communion of the saints? Why do they need the local church? Why do they need brothers and sisters around them for their spiritual flourishing, for their holistic flourishing?
Well, first of all, we're commanded to do it, right? We're told to come together, not forsake meeting together like some are accustomed to, right? So we're told to do it, which is a good reason. But we're told to do it because it benefits us. We build each other up. We encourage each other because we are going to have those moments when we're down. We are going to go through difficult times in our lives. This world is tainted by sin, right? All of it. And so we're going to struggle one way or another. So yeah, we need the communion of the saints just for that encouragement to be there, to help bear one another's burdens, all of those things. It's just, you know, we need to be together to do that.
Two things. One, can you be a healthy human being and Christian and be separated from a local church?
Ooh. You're asking me?
Yeah, I'm looking at you. I'm not looking at Jimmy.
I looked at Jimmy. I was trying to get out of it.
I have my answer.
Because
I don't
we've
think
said
so.
it a million times.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, no, I don't think so. I mean, I think people like to think they can, like they're interacting with people on Christian Twitter maybe, or
Christian Mingle.
Or
Christian
maybe
Tingle.
Christian Mingle.
Whatever.
I don't know. But yeah, I don't think so. It's not the same.
We have to be in real relationships with real people in real space, right?
Well, right. I mean, I'll even say that to my clients, like especially the kids I work with that maybe struggle with social anxiety, and they'll talk about like, well, I was hanging out with my friends, and I'll be like, you were? Where? Well, on Xbox, you know, or on PlayStation, and I'll be like, oh, not like, do you know these kids from school? And you were just kind of hanging out on the thing. No, these are just people I met online.
Were you talking to my son Killian?
No, I was not.
Okay, all right.
But I was.
Don't just asking.
Don't throw
No, but he
Killian.
talks to his friends, but he's he's got some social things.
I know, but don't call out Bonger.
I'm not
like
calling
that.
out Bonger. I'm just saying, like, you know,
Stop it.
Listen, Bonger, I told you about the scooter thing.
No, I know it,
Okay.
but I don't say those things
Oh,
here.
I'll say.
I don't say those
All right,
things.
let me ask you one question real
Okay.
quick, okay?
Okay.
So I've noticed this thing. I'm 49. I'm going to turn 50, okay? I've noticed this thing.
149, yeah.
This thing is very concerning to me.
Okay.
I don't like this. I find myself in situations where I'm talking about things that are important or things that matter, and my eyes get really watery, and I get really uncomfortable when I'm watching movies, when I'm watching shows, when I'm like, what the heck is wrong with me? What is that? Because this has not happened before.
I mean, it happened a couple weeks ago.
I know we were saying
did.
goodbye. We were saying goodbye to. I don't even like Tim Smith, and I was saying we were saying goodbye to Tim Smith and,
then
his
it
wife,
happened.
and I was getting all emotional.
I feel like it happened during this podcast a little bit.
No.
Thank you.
No.
It does
No.
look like it, though.
No, that's just my old man eyes that are grayed over and weeping. So what is that?
What's wrong with you is that you think you only have like one major emotion.
I have two.
What's there two? I always
Annoyance,
forget.
annoyance and anger.
Okay,
Yeah, the
well,
two
which is
A
a
words.
subset
He's
of
in AA.
anger.
Yeah, I'm in AA. I've got my own AA chapter.
I couldn't remember the second one. But the thing is, you actually have more than that. You just are now discovering
okay,
it.
you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I need
I
to
do.
talk to a professional.
Okay, bye.
Well, we'd love to hear your thoughts. You can follow us online on Instagram and Twitter at Doc and Devo, or on Facebook /Doctrine and Devotion. You can head to the website, doctrinedevotion.com. There you can contact us. You can sign up for the email blast at the store, jofostore.com, and grab some gear. Fresh Pot every Monday and Thursday, blog posts and video content over at the website. And we got that all-access exclusive content. Banter of Truth on Tuesdays,
Banter.
Weekday Wisdom
Weekday
Monday
Wisdom.
through Friday. Head on
Devotions.
over to drvotion.com/all
We give away money every week.
What? No.
No, we give you like $100 gift cards.
No. I gave them the URL and you messed it up.
No, I'm saying
that's where they have to go.
They go there and we give away like gift cards.
drvotion.com/all access
and
to
they
register today. Bye.
Gift card.